Let's take a look at Friday. It's a key day. There are 10 games on. You're probably going to be able to stream somebody in, so let's pay attention with 3 days left in the week. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and every C in Pacific Ocean is pronounced differently. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers at FanDuel can get $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Checking out lockedondaily.com. That's where the newsletters are. They're free. They're in your inbox 5 days a week. Check them out. Also, you're subscribing, thumbing, banging, commenting, sharing, pinning, printing out, and looking at screenshots, all that stuff. That's what you're doing with this show. Let's get excited about World Vermouth Day. You a big vermouth guy? Remember when I went to it? I know these are like little quirky little days that we put up at the start here. I've also been seeing a lot of these days appear on like Instagram feeds of like, hey, it's this date. And I go, yeah, I knew that. World Vermouth Day. I remember when I went to France in 2022, and like, yeah, one of the things, you have aperitifs before you have your dinner. It's like, I start getting into aperitifs and have a martini, but their martinis, their aperitifs are very different. It's not the traditional gin martini. Their martini is just vermouth, ice, lemon. It's like, okay, Frenchman, that's a martini. It's unbelievably good. White vermouth, ice, lemon before dinner, W. So maybe I'll drop one of those today. Maybe I'll do one of those before the recap show today. Probably won't. You never know, though. It is Friday. So maybe it's time for an afternoon vermouth. Should we take a look at some schedule-based things? Because it is a busy day across the league. It is 10 games on, and I'm going to suggest for the vast majority of you, you are going to have the ability to stream. The timing of the games, we've got just standard 7 p.m. start. We've got a 10:30 p.m. Eastern start for the final game of the day, so pushing a little bit later in the day. I don't know, all season the NBA finishes, or the final game of the day basically always starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, except for like the last 2 weeks when they've been starting at 10:30 p.m. I don't really get why that change has happened. I like the 10 p.m. versus 10:30, obviously, but I don't know why it's changed. Anyway, it has, and that's what it is. Let's take a look at back-to-backs, and we've talked about this in the schedule preview at the start of the week, and this is an incredibly light back-to-back week. The Hornets are the only team with a Thursday-Friday back-to-back, so they're coming into Friday with a back-to-back, and there's only one team leaving Friday with a back-to-back, that's the Wizards. And then there's only one more back-to-back on the week, it's the Hawks on Saturday-Sunday. So with Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday left in the week, there's only 3 back-to-backs. That's crazy. That just never happens. So our streaming options are limited. That's why we have to be very careful with how we planned it out at the beginning of the week. So we're coming into this one watching the Hornets, and we're leaving it with the Wizards. 2 teams with terrible records. There might be some shenanigans, I'm going to guess, with some of those teams. We'll have to look at chunks. This is, again, if you're planning through, you're comfortable this week, you're in roto leagues or whatever you're doing, who's got 3 games in 5 nights, Friday through to Tuesday. Anytime that I mentioned someone from Washington, Utah, Charlotte, less so New Orleans, but those other teams, Philadelphia, even Dallas, I'm going to say, yeah, it's a little risky. So I'll put at the top here. If I think Tristan Vukcevic plays 21 minutes a night, I think he's really good here. But I don't know. What if Rashawn Holmes comes back into the rotation? What if Vukcevic is too good and Anthony Gill has to play those minutes? Because I know one thing, Anthony Gill's not too good. Shout out to Gilly. But if Vukcevic plays 21 minutes and then maybe spikes to 25 in one of them, he'll be very good here. But I don't know. Jose Alvarado, yes, he started last game, but Bruce Brown played more, but they've got a back-to-back, the Pelicans, so Brown is probably sitting one of those. So you might get, let's say, 23 Alvarado and maybe a 30-minute spike. I like it. Max Christie, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Kai Jones. We have known that this week is a bad week for the Mavericks with 2 games on. Starting Friday, 3 games, 5 nights, it's a good part of the Mavericks schedule. Now, this doesn't matter a lot for a lot of you because fantasy head-to-head is played on a fantasy calendar basis, Monday to Sunday. We hate calendars here. We're anti-calendar, but that is how it's played. But if you're in a situation where you're now looking to grab a group of games, understanding Kessler Edwards has got 1 game left, Brandon Williams has got 5, yeah, we'll see. Christie, Dinwiddie, Jones, Kai Jones. I like all of them. And the other one is Dylan Brooksy Brooks. Amen Thompson is returning, but Brooks' role I don't really think is changing very much. He's on a real hot streak at the moment, so that always worries you that can become terrible in a second. But he's there. Key statuses to watch. I'll just keep an update to see whether anything has been updated on. Oh, that's interesting. We'll talk about that in a sec. Cole Anthony, if he is out, it just opens up stuff for deep league streaming of Corey Joseph. I've got Ball and Williams there in Charlotte. They're both playing on Thursday, so the odds would suggest I will be flummoxed, flabbergasted, absolutely stunned beyond belief if Ball and Williams play on Friday. But who knows? We know they're playing Thursday, so I would say Ball and Williams will not play. I wanted to check the status of Jalen Williams and Lou Dort and the other Thunder guys who sat out. Williams is out again. So this injury, despite Shams saying, nah, it's fine. Is it Shams? Yeah. Jalen Williams is out and Lou Dort is out. They were both actual injuries. The Hartenstein, Wallace, and Shea ones were rest. And they're all fine. They're back and they're ready to go. But Dort and the Bronco are out again. I just see a note here on Robert Williams is out for the season. There you go. That's not a shock there. He's an arthroscopic procedure for inflammation in his knee. Oh, really? He's expected to return within 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so his season's over. Anyway, Andy Wiggins has been in and out of the lineup for the Heat. They've lost like 8 in a row. They are terrible. His status impacts Huckers and Highsmith and Ware. Klay Thompson in Dallas. That's again, he missed the last game with what I believe was an illness. I think he's been upgraded now, Klay. I think he's available to play. Let me double check on that. Yeah, Klay is now available. The other Celtics, this is a game, Celtics Jazz. There's going to be weird stuff here. We are getting some reports come through now on the Celtics. Jaylen Brown is out again. That's interesting. Cason Wallace, by the way, questionable for the Thunder too. Jaylen Brown is out. The other guys are all not on the injury report. It's just Brown and Tillman. So what's his name? Old mate. Tatum is going to be returning, but they're playing the Jazz. So just expect some weirdness in terms of minutes played. And then for Utah, I would think that Lauri Markkanen actually does return for this one, and we get maybe some more normalcy in minutes. They play 2 difficult opponents in a row here, Utah. 2 bad ones after that, but it might be an opportunity to get the league off their back for a bit and play some guys some extra minutes. So just be aware of that, and that hurts like a Sensabaugh and a Kyle Filipowski type spot. Grayson Allen in the Suns situation we need to watch because his presence is just 23 extra minutes that could impact Dunn, it could impact Jones, it could impact Gillespie, it could impact O'Neal. Just spreading those minutes around in different spots is important. Not as much that, we're not looking at Allen as a great option, but how it impacts the others. In Denver, Jokic and Jamal Murray have been out the last 2 games. I think it does seem likely that they return, but I don't know that. Jeremy Grant, the Ides of March, again, is he going to play? I do highly doubt it. Because if he does play, that means one of Shaedon Sharpe, Tamani Kamara, or Denny Avdia probably comes off the bench. Or does Grant come off the bench? So I just think they might just keep him out. That's a guess, but I don't know that. And the other one that is very important is Ja Morant, who's had hamstring soreness for 3 games in a row. I'm sure it's incredibly sore. It's not strained. The Memphis Grizzlies would never lie on the injury report, ever. It's probably just a grade 2 soreness, some might say. So I don't know when Morant is coming back. I actually don't think that he will play, but, I'm making that up because I don't know, because they haven't told us. Today's episode is brought to you by Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. And with Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts that are ready to help take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Extra hands for a project, or maybe it's a long-term partner. Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Find that right talent that you need, that freelance expert that you need for your short-term goals, your individual small projects, your long-term, whatever it is, you can get that over at Upwork. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, you'll get multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is UPWORK. Why is that so hard to say? UPWOR. Try and say that out loud. Upwork. Then spell it out. I don't know what's so hard. UPWORK.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, and March Madness is here, so FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before, because new customers right now can get $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is 200 extra bucks that you can spend really on any sport, but March Madness, first round, second round, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, Cinderella stories, buzzer beaters, who's going to win the whole thing. It's all there, available on FanDuel, and when you do win on the FanDuel app, you get that payment through instantly. So visit FanDuel.com. Get your $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet, and get in on all the college hoops action all tournament long. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, that will bring us now to take some looks at streaming options for Friday's games with 10 of them on. Again, we've got to be really dialed into the injury reports and who's going to be in or out. There are still reports coming in right at the moment. I'm just double checking what else has come through. Nah. All right, let's have a look at Yahoo points leagues. Again, a lot of these guys, there is risk involved. Like Jared Butler, I've got projected pretty well. Lonnie Walker is likely to return for the Sixers, but like Butler could play 21 minutes, he could play 29. It's risky. Same with Tristan Vukcevic. I am of the belief that the Wizards are still going to be trying very hard to lose because they don't want to move out of that first seed slot. They've won 15 games and they want to stay on 15 games. So Vukcevic should get enough. I've got Spencer Dinwiddie, Max Christie, and Kai Jones there. Opportunities with guys out. Caleb Martin also out for Dallas. Opportunities for those guys to put up pretty solid numbers. Ryan Dunn also pops in for a guy that's available everywhere, whose usage is up. It helps even more if Grayson Allen is out. But Ryan Dunn is definitely worth a look at that spot for those deeper formats. For ESPN leagues, it's pretty similar. You've got Jared Butler. You've got Tristan Vukcevic. I'm going to put Jose Alvarado in there as well. He gets a bump in their format. Max Christie and Kai Jones are there. And then the other one to chuck in on ESPN is Lonnie Walker IV, who is returning. He might play 18 minutes, though. He might play 30. There is so much. Like last game, we had Chuma Akeke playing 30 minutes. What? We had O'Shea Brissett go from 38 minutes to 20 minutes. It's hard with that team. There are certain teams that you know it's going to be tough. Washington, Philadelphia. Dallas is not as tough. We sort of know what their minutes will be. Utah's is a little tough to figure out. More so with Utah, who's playing. But when you know who's playing, it becomes a bit easier. But in terms of in-game management, Washington and Philly are those two teams at the moment that it is really difficult to try and peg down exactly how things are going to play out on a game-by-game basis. It is a tough thing to try and figure out. If we do category league streaming now, we take a look at some points and threes guys. Now, this guy could be a Yahoo points or ESPN points guy as well, and it's Jaden Hardy. And that's probably the big unknown in Dallas. He came back, played 24 minutes in his first game back. I don't think they'll play Brandon Williams. He's dealing with a hamstring issue at the moment. He's got 5 games left on his contract, so if he's still sort of iffy with that, I think they would, and now that Hardy's back, they'd rather play Hardy, sit Williams down, and get some of those other games in later on, because this will be Kessler Edwards' last game. Then he'll be out of the rotation, and then Williams can come back in after that. So that's how I think that's going to go, and that helps Hardy boost. I've got Lonnie Walker as a points and threes guy. Max Christie, who's on the bench but playing 35 minutes. Vukcevic is there again in Washington. Jose Alvarado in New Orleans. He probably will start. Will he play 23 or 28? Will Bruce Brown get the nod? I don't know. But I know that we've got at least a safer floor with him with Trey Murphy out. And the other one is Nick Smith Jr. Now, and that's disgusting. I know that. The reason you want to look at Nick Smith is the assumption that LaMelo Ball does not play. The assumption that Mark Williams does not play. I guess a slight possibility Miles Bridges doesn't play. I think he will play, though. But Nick Smith, he doesn't do anything else. He hurts in other areas. But you're looking for points and threes. It's a spot where you probably get more out of him, although they could chuck a KJ Simpson in there. But I think it's an opportunity to get more out of Smitty, maybe more out of Damian Bohr in there as well for those points and threes streaming. That'll transition us to talk assists and steals, and Jared Butler sits at the top there, but it's risky. He could probably get you 5 assists most nights, irrespective of minutes, and a couple of steals. He could get you 9. We want 30 minutes out of him if we're streaming him in, but we don't know. Jose Alvarado's there as well, and again, he's got a really safe steals floor. Assists is sort of safe, but it could really pop off if we get more minutes, and I'm looking at that almost as a worst-case 24-minute night scenario, and it can go bigger. Mike Conley continues to start. He was very good last game, so he's getting 22 to 24 minutes most nights. Now, they have, from memory, a really, really bad opponent, which could really have an impact on how much he plays, so there is that risk factor associated. I'm going to double-check that They play the Pelicans. Yeah, there you go. So that could impact Conley, so just watch that. I've got Chris Dunn there. Now, he was bad in the last game. But I do believe that he only played those 17 minutes because Bogdanovic went 8 of 8 from the field. And I don't think that Dunn will play 28, but 23, 24, 4 assists, 2 steals, potential? Maybe. This is one that's, again, he's available, I think he's rostered in 0% of leagues. But I think the Wizards are going to play him 30 minutes, and it's AJ Johnson. He's got a very strong assist rate so far. He's not a bad steals guy. And honestly, for a guy that was as bad as he was in Australia last season and as bad as he's been for most of this season, his shooting numbers, his 2-point percentage, is really high for a player like this. I would expect 40%, but I think he's 48%. He's getting 9 assists per 100 possessions as well. And if he plays 30 minutes, that is interesting to me. More interesting than a Colby Jones, even though Jones outplayed him last game. I've got Damian Bowe on that list as well. He is, much like Nick Smith, a horrid shooter, but with expectation is that LaMelo isn't there. So Bowe should play 30 minutes, 7 assists, a couple of steals, perhaps, maybe. I think we can look at that. Today's episode is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, with daylight savings here now for you guys over in North America. Well, you might have felt that you've lost that hour of sleep. 5 Hour Energy, it has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but you got to have that energy to boost yourself to power through. Staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, you're squeezing in an extra round of golf after work. Maybe you're just trying to keep up with a busy day of, watching fantasy basketball shows. 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. There's over 15 flavors to choose from. It's on-the-go convenience, whether you're at a game or traveling. 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps you feeling refreshed. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack, including flavors such as watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango. Is that the other one? What other? Tropical burst as well. So many good flavors of 5 Hour Energy. So if you need one now, grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They are everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right. Got a couple of little segments to round things off here. Let's take a look at some boards and blocks stream, guys. I'm going to put Yusuf Nurkic up here now. Could be Moussa Diabate, who somehow is playing on Thursday. I thought he was done for weeks with that knee injury. Does he play both games? I'm a little skeptical. But I've got Nurkic there. You could put Diabate there as well. I've got Yves Missi and Kai Jones. These are not players who are particularly good players, but they're in very good spots to get you boards and blocks to help you on this particular day. Tristan Vukcevic, his name is there again. Also, Iguodala. I don't know if Plumlee's going to play. He was out last game, but Iguodala had taken over from him anyway. Last game, we got a lot more Nick Richards than Iguodala, but still, I think that this is a guy available 99% of leagues. And you could look at Iguodala in deeper formats, get maybe a block, a steal, 7 boards, probably only 3 points, but we're talking boards and blocks here. And the other one whose ceiling is pretty limited, it's Isaiah Stewart, but you know what he's going to get. He's going to play 18, 20 minutes. There is, I guess, 26-minute upside if Duran gets in foul trouble. But for now, we get the 6 or 7 rebounds. We get 2 blocks from Stewart as a best-case scenario. Pretty good. Pretty good reliability in what Alf Stewart is able to bring, unless, of course, he gets ejected. Let's look at some percentage streamers for field goal percentage. A lot of those names will be similar. You've got Moussa Diabate there, much better field goal guy than Nurk. You've got Kai Jones and Osa Iguodala. A lot of these players are just available everywhere, rightfully so, but they're good value now. And then free throws, we've got Max Christie. I've got Mike Conley. And then this is one other thing that Nick Smith can do. He can hit free throws. So, again, a widely available player. You're taking a punt, assuming that LaMelo Ball is out, which I think is a pretty good assumption. And then Nick Smith might be the guy you chuck in. Now, in our stream plan tracking, this is a day that I've had to make some decisions about what I'm going to do. So I had a couple of the ways that we planned this stream out where I had single day Friday streams. So the guys that I'm going to put in and plug in and track are going to be Jared Butler, Tristan Vukcevic, Max Christie, and Kelly Olynyk. For some of the little pathways, we needed a Friday, Saturday back-to-back, so we wanted to target a Wizards player. I'm going to go with Vukcevic there. And then for some of them, I needed 2 games in 3 nights between Friday to Sunday, and Dylan Brooks is the guy that I'm going to track there. So there are a couple of those options I'm going to track in the streaming plan, but you would have heard me mention Jared and Tristan and Max and all these guys all through the show today, even Dylan Brooks, because there is a little bit of appeal in what they're doing at the moment, and that is the appeal of me finishing this show on World Vermouth Day. I'm going to go down, maybe mix up an early vermouth, getting ready for that daily recap show. Hit the thumb on the video, hit the double bang, hit the subscribe, leave your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.